Hello, and thank you for choosing to learn more about youth-specific nutrition education. This presentation is presented by Complete Children's Health in collaboration with Always in Motion Nutrition. I'm Nicole Legler, registered dietitian, teaching you how to build a balanced breakfast and snack. This video is specifically created for ages 8 through 13, but you might be a little bit younger or a little bit older, and it might still apply to you in terms of what you need for your meals and snacks, as well as how to cook safely so you can make sure that you are taking control of your own health in both a safe and healthy way. Let's get started. So first, the importance of creating balanced meals and snacks. Why does it matter on what you put on your plate? We have three main reasons. First is making sure that you're creating a meal or snack to provide you with sufficient energy. When you're consuming foods, the energy from that food is providing us energy all day long. So we want to make sure that there are specific types of nutrients such as protein and fiber that gives us steady and stable energy, that we're not getting a boost of energy to then crash 30 minutes to an hour later, unless we are specifically doing something for a boost of energy, like right before a sporting event where we need that sugar rush. Most of our breakfast before we go to school, as well as snacks, the main priority there is to keep us with stable energy for at least 2 to 4 hours at meals and 1 to 2 hours with snacks, meaning that the meals you're creating with breakfast should keep you full for at least 2 hours. Snacks should keep you full for at least an hour before your next upcoming meal. Secondly, growth, development, and other bodily functions, making sure that there's some key nutrients on your plates to support your general growth and development as a youth and adolescent, but also for some other key things in whether that's brain focus for the day or sporting events and activities, whatever it may be, making sure that you're selecting specific nutrients to provide you with not only stable energy, but also things like brain power, focus, productivity, as well as developmental things that your body just needs behind the scenes to keep growing. And then lastly, making sure there's some key vitamins and minerals here, so our micronutrients, and building a plate with lots of color and variety is going to make sure that our body is getting a lot of different nutrients from the different foods that we are consuming. So, focusing on food groups, this is a really great place to start. If you have no idea where to start, this is a fantastic place to figure out, what do I even build? What is a complete balanced meal versus just a regular breakfast? So first we can focus on the food groups and aiming to add food for most of the food groups per meal. I have the My Plate reference here on our 5 food groups that we're going to mainly look at, which is fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Not listed here is going to be fats, which can be found in dairy and protein, but it also is going to be found in other things like vegetables, such as avocado or some of our grains, but also things like nuts and seeds that give us a little protein but more fat. So that is another food group to be focusing on that might not be listed here. But a great place to start when building it is trying to get it as close to this My Plate as possible. Trying to have half of your fruit be colorful with fruits and vegetables. Fourth of your plate be grains or maybe starchy vegetables. If you want to learn more about that, we have a whole lesson on carbohydrates and how to swap grains for starchy veggies like corn, beans, and peas. We want to make sure that a fourth of our plate is our protein sources. And then we have maybe a serving of dairy such as milk. Maybe there's cheese involved, or you're having dairy from other food sources. A really good way to start from a snack combination is pairing 2 food groups together. So something like a protein and fruit, so let's say a beef jerky stick and an apple, a fruit and dairy. This could be something like a banana and a glass of milk, or maybe making a smoothie with that. That's my favorite way to combine that, is doing, some frozen fruits or frozen banana with either half a cup of Greek yogurt or some skim milk, and add some ice, or maybe even adding some peanut butter in there to make a really tasty smoothie, or doing something like grains and vegetables too. So making sure that you're pairing different things together so that you are having nutrients from all these different types of food sources. If you are focusing on more stability for energy purposes, we want to make sure to really focus on our protein and then our fruits and vegetables. So if you want an even clearer place to start for all of our meals and all of our snacks, pick a protein source or a reduced fat dairy source, which also gives us protein like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, and then pairing it with a fruit or vegetable, which ensures that you're getting vitamins and minerals, some fibers, as well as that protein, which leaves you full of energy and a lot of micronutrients involved as well. Couple safety tips before we get started on ideas, making sure that you wash your hands and start with clean kitchen surfaces. So spending at least 20 seconds singing happy birthday twice, and making sure that your hands are nice and thoroughly clean with soap and warm water, as well as making sure your kitchen surfaces are clean, especially if you plan to touch any food to the surface, such as a countertop and not a cutting board or directly on the plate. We want to make sure that you're washing our fruits and vegetables prior to preparing, get off any dirt, pesticide residue, so on and so forth, little creatures that can get in on those items as well. So making sure that you are thoroughly washing them with water. Doesn't need to be soaped, but just at least starting with rinsing them off. Also, making sure that you're practicing good knife safety. This is something to absolutely check in with on your parents on how to learn to use a knife properly, as well as making sure that you're gripping it properly, cleaning it potentially properly, or if there's specific knives that you are or are not allowed to use in your household or anywhere else you're preparing food, making sure that you have asked a guardian or parent on how to utilize that. If you have long hair, such as myself, we want to make sure that's tied up and behind shoulders, making sure that you're avoiding baggy sleeves, anything that can touch or get in on the food, whether that's losing hair or if just your clothes are going to touch that food, especially if it's any sorts of like raw meat. We want to make sure to avoid that contact, but making sure in general that loose clothes or hair is going to be out of kitchen equipment area as well for safety. Making sure that you're not doing any cross-contamination, so keeping ingredients separate, especially if you're preparing food around any individual that might have an allergy, making sure each ingredient is prepared on a separate cutting board with separate utensils, knives, etc., to avoid any cross-contamination. Specifically things with nuts and seeds, as well as other things like gluten cross-contamination. So a lot of allergy potential here. If you are consuming foods around others, we want to make sure that that is a clear separation. If you're just consuming food for yourself, the biggest thing to avoid is contaminating with a raw meat with other food sources that are already cooked. And then lastly, making sure that you're putting leftovers in the fridge or freezer within 2 hours. After about 2 hours, we start to see a lot of bacteria grow on food. So making sure that you're not leaving anything that should be refrigerated or frozen on the countertops for longer than 2 hours. Once you're done preparing your own portion, put everything away right away so you don't forget the step and have to throw out a big amount of any food that is what we call perishable. So now that we kind of figure out what to do to be safe, we come up with a few key ideas for breakfast that gives you those 4 to 5 food groups, a really healthy balance of nutrients that are really easy for you to build yourself for breakfast. So first, starting with my personal favorite, a Greek yogurt parfait. So you do something like a reduced fat or fat-free Greek yogurt and adding some granola on there, maybe like a small handful or a fourth a cup of granola, fourth to a half a cup of berries. You can add some healthy fats like chia seeds or flax or hemp on here to add some extra healthy fats. Other components that you might want to consider is maybe like some chopped up nuts. Individuals like to do that over seeds if you want that extra crunch as well. So making sure, again, you have some color, some grains with carbohydrates, some protein with that dairy. Again, protein, dairy being a combined one, and then the healthy fats as well. Another great one we can use is oatmeal, and you can make this from a packet on the stovetop. You can also do overnight oats in the night before and have it soaking in your liquid or milk, almond milk, milk alternative if you prefer. You can do this hot or cold, but making oatmeal according to the package directions is really easy to do on stovetop or soaking overnight. And then pairing that something with like a diced apple, some nut butter and cinnamon to have something really savory, especially too, you can kind of tailor this to your own taste. So you can do something like that, or you could do it with chocolate milk and do that with banana and peanut butter if you like something like that instead. You can also add things like Greek yogurt to oatmeal for some extra protein. You can add protein powder if you have any as well. Other things like collagen is safe to consume as well with oatmeal to add a little bit more protein source if that is something that you're trying to work on. And then another idea here is our scrambled eggs are traditional breakfast. So you can do scrambled eggs, hard-boiled eggs, eggs however you want them to be cooked. You do that with a side of something like cottage cheese or toast and fruit. You could do something like nut butter on that toast if you want a little healthier fat than saturated fat coming from our butter. You could do avocado on that toast as well for a little extra added color, but easy way here to pair those eggs and toast, but elevate it a bit with some fruits, a healthy fat or a vegetable here. Other options is you could do a frozen protein waffle, such as Kodiak Waffles is a really popular brand, as well as Vans Waffles. Those you can find the frozen section and just put them in the microwave or the toaster, my personal preference. And then you can add that into with nut butter, banana slices, and milk for that healthy balance, as well as, or you could do something like jam, which is a little bit sweeter, and berries on top, a drizzle of maple syrup or honey as well if you like it sweeter, but just be cautious of how much syrups you're adding to that waffle from a sugar perspective. Making sure that you have that protein source, such as the milk on the side or peanut butter if you're adding it, is going to give you that extra balance of stable energy. Smoothies are another good option if you are allowed to use a blender and it's not too early in the morning that you're waking other people up. You can do a smoothie with some frozen fruit. You could do a handful of spinach. I actually will use frozen riced cauliflower instead of ice. It leaves no difference in taste, but is a replacement of ice and is a really easy way to get a vegetable in without changing the color of the smoothie. If adding in that spinach and making it a little darker, green or brown is something that you're not into, you could try some cauliflower for some extra vegetable. Other things you can add in it too is oats or adding milk into it, extra carbohydrates there with the oats, extra protein with the milk. Again, you could do something like cottage cheese or yogurt in here or protein powder if you have accessibility to any of those for added protein as well. And then lastly, doing something like a breakfast wrap or a breakfast burrito. You could scramble eggs up with some veggies of sorts. You can add spinach, cheese, guacamole, salsa, anything that suits your fancy. If you have potatoes left over from dinner, you can toss those in as well. Black beans work really well for some added fiber. So anything that you like paired with eggs, you can throw that in a whole wheat tortilla or a grain-free tortilla as well if you prefer. In terms of snack, like I said, we're trying to pair two food groups together. A couple easy things that you can build yourself for that balanced snack is something like baby carrots or bell peppers and dipping that into hummus. You could do a Greek yogurt cup and add some granola, or instead you could add some berries on top of that. Apple slices and peanut butter or any nut butter of your choice. You could do some wheat crackers and a string cheese or an ounce of just sliced cheese paired together. Beef jerky and grapes work really well, string cheese and some nuts or trail mix, or doing a more whole grain cereal and some milk added to that as well. You can see all of these have either some sort of color, a protein source, a reduced fat dairy, something that's going to give us our body a little bit of protein or stabilize energy with fiber, as well as either a fruit, a vegetable, or a whole grain. If you'd like to learn more, please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a whole series here on nutrition education videos for youth in terms of both education and actually implementing those recommendations into real life. So like and subscribe to learn more and let us know if you have any questions.